Hey guys, welcome to the Ninja Opportunities video. In this video we're going to be watching some of the fights that illustrate the different opportunities you may have or you may encounter when you're flying the Ninja Pilgrim. These are just little tips, little ways that I think will help you find kills or encourage people to kill you or try to so that you can kill them. First one is the fail dock. I saw this a lot, especially when basing out of enemy systems and spending a lot of time in their system. Like if you just logged in or you just came into system, or even just periodically just looking at the station, you would find these people on the edge of the station not docked. So from my personal experience, and I'm sure from your personal experience as well, you've seen times when you've clicked dock, like you've jumped into a system and you've clicked dock, but you still had to warp to the station before you could dock. So you hit dock and then you walked away to go grab a drink, or you ran to the bathroom or took a phone call, whatever the case was. But you looked away for a minute after you hit dock because you saw your ship was in warp. Therefore, of course, it's going to land on the station and it's going to dock. Well, turns out that there's some random occurrence in EVE where 1 in 10, 1 in 20, I don't know what the case is, those ships just don't dock. It seems more likely when you go AFK. I think if you Alt-Tab, it's more likely. I'm not sure. But that's my theory, is that if you Alt-Tab in Warp, it cancels the dock. But I'm not positive. Anyways, so I found this pretty common, that I would come across people just sitting on the undock. So right there I just killed a hauler, got his pod, and I'm burning away to see if the Cinnabol will chase. Not that I especially want to fight him. You can see he's barely moving. So the hauler was almost empty, nothing special, 30 mil. It's not all that special, but it will piss them off. So pod was a little bit better, 123 million, so that's nice. And so here's another example of the fail dock. It's something I check for almost always. If I jump into a system and I don't see, like, if it doesn't look like it's going to be a ratting system where a lot of people are ratting, then I just go to the station at 100 or something, or a tactical on the station, and just check it out. So right here we have a blackbird sitting still, not moving. Now he's moving. So he must be there if he's moving, but he's not doing anything. He hasn't locked me. He hasn't aggroed. Maybe I don't think he's quite within the docking radius. Ishtar just lands. Okay, Ishtar's a little bit of a threat. He can't really tackle me, but he can put DPS on me. With the Blackbird, I don't even have him pointed at this point. So I was spooked by the Ishtar, so I dropped my point. So at this point, this Blackbird, he's locked me up now, but he's had so many opportunities to get away. And he just sits there and he dies. So that guy wasn't AFK. He was just not very intelligent, I guess. So I got his ship, and then his pod just sits there, so I go ahead and kill the pod too. I hope so. Point it. Well, that was sad. I should have killed it faster. And right after I'd killed that ship, just within like a minute later, here comes the bait. Osprey, Caracal, Cerberus. So look out for that, especially after you just kill something. Like I say in my survival video, obvious bait, watch out for it. It's going to happen a lot. Especially after you get a kill, they're going to try to bait you. So in this one, it's kill the straggler. So what had happened here is, pause it a second. What had happened is there was a fleet of hurricanes and logistics that had just left, and I watched them from a station tactical leave system and start moving towards out, and they were going towards this other guy, Trespane, that I was chatting with. So I was kind of giving him the heads up. Then I saw this one hurricane here, and he was like just a straggler, running behind everybody else. But the fleet had already taken off. The fleet was already probably 2 jumps ahead of this guy. He was probably in the bathroom when they left, and he's going to try to catch up. Well, these are the people that you can really take advantage of, that you can really get a kill off of, because not just solo, but when I first started using this tactic, it was in Fountain when we were fighting against Test, my small corp. But what we would do is we would just wait for fleets to go through. and we'd all be cloaked up on a gate, say in stealth bombers, and have 1 or 2 guys in interceptors at tacticals on the gate, and just wait for people to pass through. And this huge, test would always run around these massive fleets of 100, 200 pilots, and they'd go through with their fleet, and they would always, and I mean always, every single time they had a fleet, they would have several people, pulling up the back who were just too lazy to keep up with the fleet. And they would always jump in a few seconds after the main fleet had warped, or maybe even a minute after, and the rest of the fleet would be in warp across system. Especially these big systems, it'd be really nice because they'd have to get all the way across system, stop, realign, turn around, warp back, get across system, and all that before we could kill them. We had 3 or 4 or 5 stealth bombers. We could nuke most ships pretty quick. So we would just sit there with like 5, 6, 7 guys, and every time a fleet would go through, it was easy kills. You just catch the stragglers, because there's always, the bigger the fleet, the more stragglers there's going to be. And in this case, it's just a solo version of that. This guy's running behind. He's trying to align quickly before I can point him. Unfortunately, it's not enough. I overloaded the point to make sure I would get him. Don't want to get too close, so I hit my orbit. Get all 3 newts on him. Try to turn off any micro warp drive he may have so that he can't approach the gate. He red boxes right there, so now I know he's stuck here for a while. He's going to try to engage me. He's not doing any damage to me whatsoever. I see the red box goes away, which tells me he's either stopped shooting or he started shooting my drones. You can see I pulled up my drones there because I feel like maybe he's about to engage the drones. He's putting drones on me. I probably should check to see if those are ECM drones just to be safe. And at this point, I start getting a little bit scared. So everything's going well here. I'm killing this guy. And now there's a malediction here, which isn't that bad. I'm not scared of malediction. But I may have to pay attention to it if I see it gets interested and wants to do something. But also there's the Falcon. If the Falcon is with this Hurricane, I'm screwed. Like, I'm completely screwed. So I'm thinking I need to get the heck out of here, because if I get jammed, I can't nuke anybody off of me. There's no escape for me at that point. The malediction can hold me forever if the Falcon points me. So I don't know what the intentions of this Falcon are. So he waves to me. I still don't know if that means he's going to be friendly or not. So I'm backing off the Hurricane. I've dropped my point on the Hurricane. I'm just trying to back away from the fight because I don't know what's going on. And if in doubt, do the safe thing is basically a good course of action. If in doubt, be safe. So now I've backed off. The Falcon hasn't tried to jam me yet. I'm thinking maybe this Falcon is a scout for these other guys. I was like, oh, okay, this is a scout for them. I've been kind of working with these guys this night. Usually I fight against those guys. I think they're part of King or something. Usually I fight against them in FD, but this night I'd helped them out a little bit. And so I see that he's with them, and that tells me that I can go back in close and engage and kill the Hurricane. So I let the Falcon go. Got to play fair. And I get a Hurricane kill from a straggler. So that's, get the stragglers. In this case, I need to set this fight up. You can see I already have armor damage. I'm a shield tank. Well, what had happened is I was in a fleet with several other people, and we had roamed into Fade, into a little pocket. And we had kind of stirred them up a bit, and they brought out a bunch of really big ships, stuff we couldn't kill. Like, they had overpowered us massively. I think they killed one of us, I'm not positive, but our fleet got split up. I had to jump in, the rest of the fleet had to go backwards, so I was in this little like circular pipe or triangular pipe pocket that I had to go all the way around to get out. So in that going around, it gave the carries time to guard one of the exits. And in this case, I titled it Overconfident Tackler. So basically this carries is just over ambitious in that he thinks, oh, well, I'm guarding this exit, and here goes the bad, and he's jumping out that exit. I'm going to try to grab him. He probably thinks in his head that I'm not going to get him. He's just going to cloak. And then I turn and approach and engage, because in general, it's been my experience that the carries, especially, and pretty much all of the electronic attack frigates, except for the Kitsune. He can jam you if you get through the jams. And it's also, they're all really very squishy. None of them can carry much of a tank, and if you can get DPS on any of them, they're just going to melt. So with the carries, your main concerns are sensor damps. So you really just want to charge in, try to get that lock early on, and get some newts in, get the drones on him as soon as possible. You can see having my drones set to auto attack. My drones automatically engaged him before I had even locked him, because I had my drones out before he put the point on me. So that's always a good thing when you're facing some kind of E-war or something, is to have your drones out as early as possible so that your drones will go onto that E-war. So let's say that he was faster than me, which apparently he's not at this point. Let's say he was faster than me and he was able to keep me out at, say, 30k, keep me pointed, and keep me damped down to the point where I can't lock him. That's unlikely because the Pilgrim, being a recon, has really good resistance to E-war, all E-war. So, but let's say he was. Even if I couldn't lock him, my drones would already be on him, and therefore my drones would be enough to kill him or force him off the field. So that's a good thing to remember with Falcons or Kitsunes or anything, Air Zoos. So I'm just charging in. I want to get close to this guy. I want to get newts on him. I want to get drones. I'm not too worried about him. I just don't want to lose him is my main thing, because I think he's probably faster than me if he gets in an overloaded micro warp drive cycle. So I need to kill that capacitor and drop him as fast as possible. I also have to keep in mind throughout this whole thing that he's got buddies around here somewhere. I know that he's got backup, and some of the backup's chasing my fleet and other people in my fleet. So I can't be too greedy. So you see I'm trying to align away while killing the pod, but that doesn't work because I got my micro warp drive on and I'm getting too far. I didn't have drones out, so that didn't work, so I have to go back in, get the drones back out, do some warriors. They're nice and fast. But I'm also having to be conscious of the fact that there's probably people coming to help this guy, and they'll probably land on his wreck. There's a good chance, which he didn't. The Caracal landed 47 away, no problems, and I'm able to escape no problem from that with a little kill. So right here, it's kill the hauler. So if you watch the mining video, the miners must die video, then you saw me saying that you never be above a kill. If you're above a kill, then you're not playing right. You're not better than Eve. This is a video game, okay? You know, when you're playing Battlefield or Call of Duty, you're not above killing the AI because it's whatever. Or in PvP, you're not above killing the other players because, you know what, he was a sniper and I was behind him. That wasn't fair. Or something like that. It's a video game. You know, people seem to take this so seriously and think it's real life. You know, it's a hauler. Yes, he's defenseless, but I've had haulers tackle me and kill me before when I was in a small ship. I forget what it was, but it was a bait hauler one time that killed me. I don't think it was a Pilgrim. It was a frigate of some sort I lost to a hauler. But they're not always friendly, and they often carry tons of expensive stuff. Therefore, you can help fund your PvP through it. You think of it like war. Right, you're going to ambush a caravan or something on a road carrying supplies to your enemy. For one, you're going to hurt your enemy by destroying their supplies, destroying their ships, trucks, however you want to make the analogy, right? You're going to hurt them through that, which is good. Plus, you might be able to enrich yourself off it, which further enables you to fight against them. So if you think of it that way, that's you against the world, you're the guerrilla fighter. You know, it's just common sense tactics to do it. And, you know, people say, oh, there's hurt feelings and all. But forget that. There's no hurt feelings. It's a video game. If it hurts your feelings, then you don't need to be playing the game because you're taking it too seriously. Yes, spaceships are serious. It's a lot of fun. It's competitive. But it's the same thing as if I go play basketball with somebody and have a 1v1. If they beat me, yeah, I'm a little bit irritated. But that's why I went. I didn't go so that I was sure I was going to win. If I was sure I was going to win, I wouldn't have played. Alright, so in this one here, I'm just waiting. Now I was talking a little bit too much, and I just reset the video. So that was pretty fail. We're going to catch right back up and figure out where I was. I put my hand down on the keyboard and I hit a bunch of buttons I don't think I've ever hit before, and as a result one of them reset the video. Is this ahead of or behind? Nope, we're still behind. Alright, so what happens here is I arrive on the gate. I'd seen Blue Dome, it's the same guy that I'd killed AFK on the station before. This guy hauled back and forth a lot. I saw him all the time. I think he was doing PI, I'm not sure. But anyways, I saw him warp. I was cloaked at a tactical on the station, I think. And I saw him warping back from the station to this system over and over. So this time I preempted him. And I got into the system before he came in, knowing that if I could stay uncloaked, no cloaking delay, when he jumped in, I'd be able to grab him. You can see he's already in here. You can see by local. He's in system. So my basic goal here is I want to get on the gate at 0 or near close to it, so I can make sure I can cover all sides of the gate should he uncloak far away from me. I want to be able to point him. And then just wait. He's going to hold his cloak for as long as possible. For a couple reasons. He wants me to warp off thinking he's already gone. Also, he's trying to call for help. But too bad, so sad, you're dead. And another thing about killing haulers, same as miners, if you kill them, you're going to upset people. Maybe they're the alt of a PvP pilot. Maybe they're going to cry to their FC or somebody else, and they're going to send tackle or something your way to try to catch you. You've got to do what you can to create fights. And that's one of the things you can do to create fights, is just get people upset. It sounds mean, I know. But here's another thing you can do to upset them. Scorched earth, like I talked about in my guerrilla warfare article. And that's when I was writing that article, I was doing this at the same time. And it was, kind of the inspiration. I was living in their system, and I wasn't allowed them to have anything. They can't have anything when I'm around. If I broke up a mining op and they had cans out, the cans were getting blown up. If I went into a site and they ran away and left a mobile tractor unit, I'd kill the mobile tractor unit. Take whatever I could from it that was valuable, kill the rest. Leave nothing behind. You kill a hauler, kill the wreck. You kill a combat ship, kill the wreck. No salvage, no loot. You make sure that there's nothing for them to get, no way that they can help relieve their loss. You want it to be as painful for them as possible. Mean or not, that's part of the game. It's nothing personal. Each and every one of these people, if they would, ask me advice or something, and I have and do all the time, I'll sit there and give them the fit that I'm flying at the time, even though it puts me at a disadvantage. I'll often just say, hey, well, here's a better fit for the ship that you were flying. And I love to help people, but at the same time, I'm not going to stop playing the game to make it easier for other people. I want to play the game as well as I can to my abilities. And, obviously, some people are able to play better than others. There's plenty of people that are way better than me. But at the same time, I want to teach others to play at as high a level as possible. So, it goes both ways. In this video, we're talking about observing targets. So, in order to find opportunities, you've got to put in the work sometimes. And so what I'm doing here is an EF, is I'm watching their main station, or the only station in the system, and I'm watching the station, and I want to see, they seem to be pretty active this night. I want to see, where they're going. What gates do they go to, right? What seems to be the prevalent direction of travel? Is there a ship like that hauler earlier going from station to planet, and maybe going through all the planets? Oh, he's doing PI. I need to go catch this guy, right? Or is there a hauler going to the gate and back and forth? Maybe he's moving stuff between two systems. Do you see combat ships all going in one direction? Maybe there's a fleet and I can catch a straggler. Do you see a ratting ship going off into one of these side systems by himself? Then I can follow and kill him. You can also do things like, once you see ships going into there's a typo. Once you see ships going into a system, you can go sit on that gate cloaked like 3K off the gate, 2.5K off the gate, and sit just off the gate cloaked and wait. And that's what I would do there in that EF system quite a bit, is I would just sit there cloaked and I would just wait right on the gate, and I'd wait for that gate to light up, and then I'd uncloak. And so it was basically like a gate camp, except for the fact that I was just sitting there cloaked. They had no idea. They thought, oh, he's probably at a safe spot cloaked. I can just jump in and warp off, no big deal. But as soon as they jumped in, I'd uncloak, and I would catch them and kill them. So here, this is the final video, I believe. Maybe not. But basically what happened here, it must not be this, but what happened here is I jumped into this system. This is the last nullsec system before lowsec, Alsavonen. It's in Cloud Ring. There's one person in system. It's 14.8 AU warp, therefore just out of scan range. I was unable to know what there was. So when I came into the system, I was coming in from O-Z, I believe, and I came in and I didn't know what this guy was in, Exnium, but I thought, hey, I'm in a Pilgrim. This guy, when you see someone in a entrance system to nullsec, there's almost always a bubble camp, almost always, and it's usually going in or out, and the majority of the time the camp's going out. So because it's easier to camp out since it's a regional gate. In, you have to camp one of the out gates. It's a little bit more difficult, or you have to be able to cover the entire gate, which is difficult because it's so large. So I figured it's one guy. I'm in a Pilgrim. You know, short of a few extraordinary cases, I can take on one guy in any ship in the game because I'm in a Pilgrim. So if this guy is in Balgorn, right, I'm pretty screwed. But I still might be able to get away just based on my speed. But the chances of seeing a Balgorn are low. Now, if he's in a Dominic's, I might be able to get away because I can nude him. But again, the chances are low. Usually these camps are frigates, destroyers, and cruisers. And of those classes of ships, I can kill every frigate, every single one, one-on-one. I can kill every destroyer, one-on-one. And I can kill almost every cruiser, one-on-one. The only cruisers that I can think of off the top of my head that can kill me are possibly the Curse, probably the Curse, depending on the fit. If he was fit well, he could kill me. So probably a Curse, probably an Orthrus, maybe a Lachesis if he's fit really, really well. Maybe a Drake. No, Drake's the battlecruiser. You know, so you get what I'm saying. Most things, even if I can't kill them, right, I can disable enough to warp away. So I wasn't worried about dying. I figured there's probably a bubble, and whatever's stuck in it, I want to go get caught in that bubble so that I can catch this guy. So I'm warping across. I see on my scan, there's a wolf. Okay, we got a wolf. That means it's a wolf or a Merlin, one of the two, sitting in this bubble. Probably the wolf, because it's more likely for a Merlin to be abandoned somewhere in a pause or whatever than it is for a wolf. So we probably got a wolf, and he's probably in a bubble, a stop bubble, or a drag bubble on this gate. So coming in, I know that, and I wait until I'm just starting to come out of warp because I don't want him to see me too early and then get scared and warp away. So I don't want him to see me on directional until the last second. But at the same time, I want to come out of cloak before I come out of warp so that I can get through some of that cloaking delay, the lock delay, the 6 seconds after you uncloak before you can lock anything. So what I do is I wait until I'm just starting to come out of warp, and then I uncloak. And so now I've uncloaked. This guy, right now, he's like, oh crap, I'm screwed. But he doesn't react fast enough to get away from me before I can get a lock on him, a point, newts, and then I've got him. Now, you know, DPS notwithstanding, I've got this guy. There's nothing he can do at this point but pretty much sit there. Now, he isn't a wolf, so in this fight, I stayed for a long time after this fight talking to this guy because I think he was one of my customers, or maybe even just a visitor, I'm not sure. But I think he was a customer, and he'd bought the wolf guide. And so it's one thing that I was kind of happy that he was doing. You can see I changed my DPS because I saw EM damage was worthless on him. And I switched over to hammerheads to do some thermal DPS. Although I think explosive would have been ideal, so maybe the warriors would have been better. one thing he starts to do, I'm pretty sure he starts to kill my drones, which is the best thing he can do. I can't turn off his guns. If his guns start hitting me, I can always back up, so that's not a problem. I can always back off and get back out to 18K, which would probably be the smart thing to do anyway. I'm scared I'm going to lose this guy. But really, I probably should get out to 18K. And you can see he got a little quick scram on me, but he dropped it because he can't keep it up with my newts. He's starting to do a little bit of damage on me, so I want to back up. And once I get out of his range, he's no longer has the illusion that he can kill me. So I'm pretty sure at this point he switches to my drones. Not yet. I'm expecting him to. Maybe he doesn't. There must be another fight I'm thinking of. Oh, there he goes. Okay, so now he starts killing the drones. He should have been killing them much sooner. The best he can hope for in this situation is a stalemate. So if he can kill all of my drones faster than they can kill him, then we would end up in a stalemate, and I could just basically hold him forever but not kill him because I would have no DPS to put on him. And so eventually I would just have to abandon him and warp away, and he would survive. That would be very, very, very difficult for him to pull off. But that's really his only chance to winning this fight. So now he starts, but I just put out more drones. It's too late for him. But basically in that case, there was nothing really he could have done to survive that. The Pilgrim, that's one of the great things about it. By the time he saw me, he was already dead. And there's nothing more to that. There's really nothing else he could have done. There's no way he could have survived that fight realistically. Like I said, there's a couple ways that he might have had a long shot. But there was no real way he would have had a chance of winning. He was dead before I uncloaked. And you see me saying local, it wasn't fair. And it certainly wasn't fair. If I was in that wolf doing a little bubble camp, I'd be so pissed. Alright, I guess that is the end of the video. Alright. So, basically, to summarize it all, you need to know what opportunities to look for and also how to create opportunities. One of the things I've noticed about PvP is good PvPers spot opportunities. Also FCs. The same thing works for fleet commanders. Is that one of the biggest parts of being good and being able to make things happen is having the experience to be able to spot the opportunities and the knowledge to say, hey, I see this, and hold up, that triggers in my head something where I think that's an opportunity. I can exploit that. I see there's a straggler, there's a big fleet coming through, or maybe you just see a big fleet coming through, 100 people jump into local, and you say, hey, wait, Abaddon said something about stragglers. Why don't I go sit on the gate at a tactical that they came in from and just wait about a minute after they've passed and see if any stragglers come through, right? So the more opportunities you know of, the more you'll start to spot them in game. It's like when you start looking at new cars to buy and you're decided for sure you want to buy this car, you start seeing that car everywhere you go, right? Or after you first buy a car or whatever. When you're paying attention, you notice something a lot more. And once you've learned the opportunities, you'll start spotting them everywhere in the game. Same thing for isolations and for everything else. The more opportunities you learn about from experience and from studying and training like this, the more opportunities you'll see and the more kills you get. So, ninja opportunities, get out there and fly the Pilgrim and get some kills.